We've moved to dismiss this complaint because we believe the present posture of this appeal is procedurally defective. The zoning ordinance, Article 8, Section 1.7 is sorry. And 1.7 sets out a procedure by which this can even occur. Number one, the critical thing is when an applicant such as Mr. Voshell and Chesmer went to the zoning administrator, he had to follow a certain procedure to make a determination of non-conforming use. The first being he needed to publish that he was making a determination of non-conforming use, and then he could proceed. The publication, which provides notice to the public for a right to appeal, never occurred. The appeal in this case, anyway, because the procedure wasn't followed, it wasn't right for appeal. And our position is the case should be dismissed, sent back to the planning office for the zoning administrator to follow the procedure, publish his intent to make a determination, and then make his determination.
Okay, and that would, of course, delay any.
Well, that's true.
What are the benefits of doing that?
Well, this is the problem about taking up items when they're procedurally defective is at any time this issue can be raised again. I mean, if you deny the motion to dismiss, we go up to the circuit, say you rule against us, we go to the circuit court. The court could very well say, well, wait a minute, before we even get to this appeal, this was procedurally defective and it needs to go back to the zoning administrator and he needs to do his job properly.
Daniel Saunders for the applicant. So this board has jurisdiction over this matter in one of two ways. Had there been a formal and final determination by the zoning administrator, we have the right to appeal that decision. The other way that you have jurisdiction is if the planning administrator refers it to you, and in essence says, I don't think I should decide that, I think the board should decide that. So we asked the zoning administrator to make a determination. Either we have the right to appeal the administrator declining to make a determination, or we have a right to a hearing by virtue of it being referred. Now, you've seen the letter that he sent in response to our request, in our application. It is ambiguous, but we read it to mean, I'm not going to decide if you have the right to take this before the Board of Appeals.
This case, the zoning administrator didn't refuse to do anything, just didn't do it correctly. That's the problem. And there is no language in Mr. Mackey's email regarding this. Number one, you got it. But there's nothing in his email that says, wait, Mr. Saunders, I'm going to actually refer this to the Board of Zoning Appeals. And he never sent a letter to the Board of Zoning Appeals saying, I'm referring this matter to you all to make the decision, the determination.
Board members, my view of the motion to dismiss and my advice, which you are perfectly willing to take or ignore, is that the board does not have jurisdiction to hear this matter as an original determination of non-conforming, the status of the non-conforming use of the property, inasmuch as it was not referred by the zoning administrator. However, I do believe that there was an administrative decision made by Mr. Mackey, which is subject to challenge on appeal. And because you do have jurisdiction to hear appeals from administrative decisions, and would hear the matter de novo, it seems to me that the public notice for this hearing has cured any procedural defect at the lower administrative level.
So you're saying, I mean, I hear from Mr. Mackey that the zoning administrator did not make a decision with regard to.
I think that it's my view that Mr. Mackey did make a decision, which was to say that the use, as he says it, was validated because it existed before 1969. That you may find to be correct, incorrect, or insufficient, but it nevertheless is a decision on the basis that this is an appeal from an administrative determination.
This is an appeal from administrative determination.
And then, what is Exhibit 11?
Exhibit 11 is the State of Maryland alcohol and beverage license for the Legion for the period May 1st of 2021 to April of 2022. Current.
So just to clarify, you've renewed the license
We have.
for 2021, and while.
2021 to 2022.
Correct. And then, even though we didn't provide a serial set of license, have you maintained
Yes.
a license renewed every year?
Yes, this is a list of the post activities that we put together covering the period from January 2017 to the current month, July 2021.
And did you prepare this document yourself?
I'm the one who prepared the document. I worked with our commander, Paul Goldwater, on assembling all of the information as far as the references.
And then what sort of information did you use to prepare this?
We looked at meeting minutes, we looked at rental contracts, we looked at accounting data as far as checks. We
Well, it'd be fair to say you looked at the business
essentially all of our business records to pull this information. And then we tried to, this would be very extensive, it would probably be over 500 pages if we printed out any of all of this.
A little bit of everything. We're currently focusing on, we're working with families, on to make sure families, the whole model. So the caregivers, the parents, as well as the young people in the family.
And what specific activities are involved?
Mentoring, tutoring. Right now we're working on a grant, the Adolescent Youth Clubhouse. It's the first model on the Eastern Shore. They have a handful of them on the Western Shore. So we were lucky enough to secure this grant and bring it to the Eastern Shore.
And is that done at the American Legion facility?
Yes, that's one of our sites, yes, sir.
And how about Feed the Elderly? Is that also involved at the facility?
Yes, sir.
How many volunteers do you have on a weekly basis with the Feed the Elderly program? Approximately.
Say between 10 to 20.
And how many families do you service?
Our numbers stay hover right around like 215, 200, 210. And somebody comes off the list, somebody goes on the list. But so on average, I would say over 200 bags of food go out every Thursday from the list.
Now, do you have other activities involve children?
Yes, sir.
And can you describe them?
And are so we're clear, these are activities that are presently on the property now, not what you hope.
No, these are all, we're just talking about what's going on now, what's occurred since.
Not what may or may happen in the future today.
Right. Not 1962, but today.